You know what they say? When you run into a puddle, you run into trouble. All right, check this out. Hey folks, what do you think happens when you go through a puddle of water? It gets sucked up into the engine, then it stalls out. Because remember, water don't burn. That's why they use water to put out fires, right? So, here's a car that went through a puddle. I'm not sure how deep it was, but if it's just enough to splash up, get in here, and get into the air intake, there's your problem. So, there's the screen that the air comes from. And of course, you know, there's a little box down there. It looks like a sealed box, but I don't, you know, nothing's ever really sealed. So if it gets sucked up in there, it's going to come through this intake, up into this box, and that's where your filter is. All right, so let's take a look. You can see there's water up here, so I don't know if it got up here this high. I don't think so, but it could be just splattered all over. Who knows? But I'm going to take this apart. I'm going to take a peek in here, and as you could tell that filter is wet. Okay, take the filter out. Oh, it's heavy. Look at that. Got water. Okay, so yeah, flooded up in there, came in there, went up into the air intake, and it stalled the engine out. Okay, remember, water don't burn, so that's the problem there. I checked the oil, the engine oil. That is fine. It's clean. It's dry. The fan belt is good. On this particular model, the transmission fluid is sealed, or it doesn't have a dipstick, so to speak. So I looked underneath. It looks okay. Transmission never had a leak. So if it doesn't have a leak coming out, it's not going to have a leak coming in. There should be a vent up here somewhere. I can't find it. I'll look for it. But when you have something like that, you can either change the transmission fluid or play it by ear. It should be okay. Like I said, I think it might have just sucked in a little water there, and that's just enough to let it stall out, because nothing else here is soaking wet. So I don't think it went up that high. I think it was just enough to clear that, suck up just a little bit of water, just enough to make it stall. Okay, doesn't have to be like a big flood in order for it to stall out. Just a little bit of water is all it does. I'm trying to take this fuse box out just to look in that, and that looks pretty dry except for that little spot right there. Okay, other than that, the electrical part here looks dry. I'm going to shoot this up with a little bit of blower, get all this water out, and we are going to change out this filter. Okay, that's it. So be careful out there, people, especially during the floods, the puddles. Cars can't swim, so just think about somebody that doesn't swim, falls into a pool, can't breathe, it's gonna die. You're gonna drown. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching. Ciao. A lot of water squirting out of there. Look at that. And there's the rest of the water that's draining out. And it also has a engine oil light on right now. Most likely the switch part is saturated. There it is right there. So I'm going to unplug that, clean out the water that's in that terminal, and then we'll move on from there. Alright, so anything that's electrical usually gets filled up. Alright, I'm going to do that too. Look at that water. Oh, and by the way, I don't understand why the tow truck driver even tried to start it. Because if there was a lot of water in there, and sucked it up in there, he could have just ruined the engine itself. He should have just left it alone. When it's stalled, that's it. That way there's no more water entering in there. When he goes to try to start it for you, you know, to try to be nice, he just sucks in more water and creates more damage. So, hey, listen, that's why tow truck drivers are tow truck drivers. Just tow the freaking car. Stop trying to become a mechanic and try to save the world. All right? Sorry to say, guys, but should have just left it alone. Because when you start to run it, it gets even worse. Because remember, the filter was full of water. So now this engine, which is like a big vacuum cleaner, is just going to keep sucking that water out as you're driving it. And like I said, water don't burn, water doesn't compress. So you end up ruining the engine. All right, just leave it just the way it is. When it's stalled out, leave it just the way it is. Same thing as if your car has a timing belt. Okay, if it blows the timing belt, I mean, I understand that you don't know it, but the thing is that don't try to keep cranking it 10,000 times trying to get it to start, because it just does more damage. All right, even though the damage was already done. But all right, there it goes. Cleaning some of it off. Still working on it. There it is here. Just cleaning out that oil pressure switch. And that's it. But it starts and runs quiet as a mouse. There you go. Little oil lantern light there is now out. That's why it was on. Got soaked with water. And here it is running. Without the filter, of course. Nice and quiet. No noises. And continue to blow dry everything here. And it's good to go. All right. So be careful with water. Standing water, floods, puddles. Okay? Like I said, on this particular model, the air filter is here. There's a pipe into a rectangular box. Then it comes back up, and this is where it gets its fresh air from. So, the box, if you come up to the bottom of the bumper, that is where the box is, right here. Okay? That's just enough to suck in water. Alright, so really don't have too much to go. How much is this? Maybe about 10 inches. So 10 inches of water is just enough to suck it in and create a little havoc. Even though it has a little tiny hole there for the water to come out, it's not enough to come out that fast. Alright? I'm going to run this until it all dries out. Okay? Gotta blow out everything. There's a little bit of water by the computer plug there. Okay? Thanks for watching. Ciao again. Happy New Year. Alright, so after running it for a while, nice and dry, I noticed that the alternator started to make noise. You hear it. Okay? Wasn't doing that before. That's why you gotta run it for an hour, hour and a half, drive it, do some funky turns, get all the water out of it. Once it's dry, sounds like an alternator. Alright, so these are the things that you have to look for when you go through water. Especially any kind of water connections, electrical connections, like that. I'm going to turn on the AC now and see if that's making any noise. Alright, turn on the AC. You can see the little AC clutch is turning, which is the outside piece, right down there. And it's getting cold. So it's good to know that the waterproof connection on that plug on the AC compressor survived the water damage. Alright. So the AC is working, it's nice and cold. We know that's working. Drives fine. Oh, and by the way, you know, when you're driving it, every once in a while you need to floor it. Because you see the little rubber hose here? inside here, especially on the bottom, it's going to contain some little droplets of water. So when you're driving it, some of that water is going to get sucked in, and the engine's going to hesitate. It's going to have like a little buck. So until you get all this water out that's on the bottom, it's going to buck. Then after that, it runs fine. I mean, what you can do if you wanted to, you can disconnect the hose altogether from the throttle body and then blow it all out or dry it. Okay? I just pretty much just blew it out here, and I wiped everything in here. But I forgot, in the little crevices underneath here, it could have a little water. So when it went through, it bucked about 2 or 3 times, and then after that, runs fine. All right? So, we're gonna check out this alternator. All right, but other than that, everything runs fine, people. All right? Thanks for watching. Ciao. Alright, so a noisy alternator usually equates to a bad alternator. And here it is, we're checking the charging system on this Milton gauge here. You can see right there, charging system should be at 14.5, where it says okay. It is only at 12, about 13, a little less than 13, and it's in the red. So yeah, the alternator went bad on this car. And that's why you get that noise. Whether it's from the flood or the water, we don't know. But it is bad. It's not charging. That means this car will not survive for too long before the battery dies. Alright, that's it. Thanks for watching. Ciao.